Hey folks, welcome to Green Hat Gardening. I'm Weatherman Sam. We're here with yet another wonderful Alabama snow. And there's not much to talk about in the garden. So there's probably a little quick video, but maybe not. If they only got, the onions still coming up or whatnot. But the big story is, I've kind of made the decision even after a year of building and doing all that I've done out here in the garden, dealing with the problems with the trees and whatnot, is I have decided to move the garden over there, the other side of the yard. The decision didn't come easy, but this will be a smaller, more contained space for me to work in, and the fire pit will be moved pretty much where the garden is, and I'll be working to create a medicine wheel garden there and a patch of woods. This will be quite nice. But here soon, I've already started the layout a bit, as you can see. This will be the new home. No trees to bother it, full sun. It's the right decision, I think. These are my 4 new trees. These are eastern cottonwoods, very fast growing trees. In a couple of years we'll have some good shade here. And in addition to this being kind of the new fire pit area, it's also going to be a medicine wheel garden. And those will serve as the corner posts. See the little sparkly tassel there, one's just there. One's going to go practically where the grapevine is. There's one maybe a little bit further back from where I've got that right there, in the tomato bed, or the former tomato bed. And then one will be right here somewhere, I guess. But today's project, and what limited time I have, will be to move this main big frame here and maybe shovel some of the dirt away, and then we're going to rebuild the fire pit, and I'll take the frame and put it down on the far side. This old rain gauge cracked and broken. No good. That's already coming loose. It may not work as well as I thought it was going to work. This was just kind of the center section. It's just sort of this outer frame of this screwed on to the other 2 main frames. I'll take those off first, I guess. That'll be easier. Pulled up one of the okra. Check out the taproot on that guy. A huge, thick taproot on it. We'll throw this in the bottom of the new beds. Got one of the old okra pods here. We'll split it open. I don't know if those seeds are still viable or not. Maybe. Okay, yeah, so I got an idea here, and maybe you've got an idea. That's what maybe I'm thinking, but I have decided to cut these big 6x6 beds down in half and make everything uniform, make everything 6x3. There's not really any loss of space or anything, just more beds to deal with. And we may have to have 2 beds of tomatoes and 2 beds of peppers next year instead of 1 and 1. But these were so difficult to get into the center of. And I was going to make them 6x4, but since everything else is 6x3, including one that I haven't moved over here yet, this seems the better idea, I think. It's kind of rough in a spot with a 3-foot piece of plank here and start sawing. The boards are frozen, so I don't even know that they'll saw that well. Good enough. Okay, so I got to straighten it up a little bit, but I've got the second leg with the second bench in. The firing is finished. I got half of the old pepper bed dug out and piled up on a tarp. Not easy work, that's for sure. It's gonna be easier to drag this down to the new garden, I think, on this tarp. Less loads in a wheelbarrow. Coming along. So let's go take a look at the garden. And here's the potential future design, or will be the future design of the garden. The 7 beds arranged in mostly a circle area here, but I'll pull all this down or out, put plastic down to deal with the weeds as best I can, and then we'll put the boxes back. Still gotta shift some things around, make it easier to walk between. And this firing obviously isn't going to stay here, but it may be a pollinator garden or a bird bath, or we haven't decided yet. We got the bones of it kind of laid out how we want, and of course the bench. Well, here's another little garden update. I finally got these arranged. I got this is 3mm black plastic, and I may still cut the interior that's out and lay down a bunch of cardboard. Huge open area here in the center, and there might be another little garden or some other feature that goes here, I'm not sure. It's a large area, but we're going to put one strawberry bed back in the corner there, one over here in the corner, and then we're going to line the blueberry bushes along the fence, and then I'm going to erect another little fence to come up to here, and we're going to plant the blackberries and then the raspberries along that. Yep, let's get the cardboard down. And yeah, there's more plastic to put down. I've got 2 more rolls of plastic that I'll put out. Yeah. Hey folks, well, it's early March, and I said this was to be extended over a couple of weeks, I guess a couple of months, and give you a little bit of a garden update, and we plant something. So this is the new garden area. It's still not completely done, but making a lot of progress here. Still have to buy some additional soil to fill in stuff, and this is going to be the medicine wheel component, or this whole thing is medicine wheel design, and this acts as more 4 cardinal directions, and we'll be planting them respectively. Back here in the corner, the daffodils are blooming. They're all coming up finally, maybe a little later, but it's nice to see them pop up. I measured and I have left, almost unintentionally, there is room here for 6 feet out this way and 8 down for a 6 by 8 foot greenhouse. I had not originally anticipated putting a greenhouse in as part of this garden, but this will be a welcome little addition and a nice area to start some stuff early and whatnot. And out of all these 7 beds, there's really only just this one that's ready for planting. A little dusty dry. We had a ton of rain the week before last. We'll get more soon. We get stuff on the ground now. So what I've got is 120 Georgia sweet onions ready to be set out. Honestly, I probably could have set them out a little earlier, but things just weren't ready for planting. And yeah, they're not all going to go in here, but we'll do as much as we can, and then maybe put the rest in pots. And in 3 months or so, we'll have quite a bumper crop of onions that we could trade for or freeze or do whatever. So let's plant a few. We'll space them out anyway. I'm trying to leave about 6 inches or so in between them, in between all of them. Maybe do a little offset like that to help with space. Yeah, you get the idea. Once we get the whole bed done, we'll come back and do a count or something. So we got right at 49 onions in this bed, and there was supposed to be 120 in this bundle, and well, you can see when what's left over. There certainly weren't 40 onions in a bundle. But that's okay, we'll find a home for the rest of these somewhere. But that's plenty as is. Yeah, honestly, I left a lot of space in between these, so we might wedge some of the smaller ones in. And you're only supposed to plant up a couple inches deep. This soil is so loose. Shove this right down in here. It's not much of an issue at all. As you can see. It's good soil. Forward to all this coming up. Well, we ended up with 84. Honestly, that's better than 120. And they're plenty pretty thick, but I don't know that some of these are viable. But that'll be fine, even at that. Just a short period of time, we'll have peppers and tomatoes and okra, carrots and potatoes, 2 new things this year that will start. Hey folks, it is March 12th and it is snowing in Alabama. I'm out here in the garden just enjoying the snow. We got a solid 1.5 inches. I'll give you a view of it. Of course, all we got planted right now is the onions. I guess they're doing okay. The hole's dug for transplanting the blueberry bushes. about all progress we've made in the garden. So it's a little short video, but I just wanted to share the snow with everybody. Over at the pond fire pit area, pond is filling up reasonably well, but it's going to need some help. I guess I came up here mostly because the grapevine is still over here and it has not yet budded out. Fortunately, the same can't be said for the blueberries. They may be staying here for a while. I think I've decided to leave them in spite of digging the holes. Strawberries, unfortunately, never got mulched, and well, they'd sprouted back out, but you can't see them under all the snow. And the blackberries had started to leaf out as well. We'll see how much that affects production later on. Hopefully it won't hit the blueberries too hard. I made a little more progress in moving the garden here. We've got all 8 blueberry bushes moved here in one long line. A lot of little blooms got hurt by that last big snow, unfortunately. So I wasn't going to move them, I was going to leave them. I decided, well, it was worth moving them now. These are the pink lemonade, and I suffered a little bit of dieback from that. Maybe down here in this full sun environment, they'll do better up against the edge. Let's be bordering all the way up, and then that's still where the greenhouse is eventually going to go. Now it's time to move the blackberries and the raspberries. I've already cut the guide wires down from this. I hate to move them, it's already starting to sprout out here. But it'll be a much better spot for them, and they'll have a lot more room than what they had here. And I won't be using the wire, I'll be using some of this fencing so I can tie them up better. We'll go ahead and take the raspberries off of this. They weren't really tied up on this very well anyway. I've already cut the little zip ties off. This is just a matter of taking that down. I'll save this, I can reuse this piece later. We're just a couple of weeks away from planting spring vegetables and whatnot, and we're still kind of getting the beds prepped a little bit. There's still some peat moss and stuff, and maybe some leaves that I want to add to it all. I'll kind of give you this overview here. It has not changed much. You know, the onions are really growing. They're doing much better than the little individual sets that I planted last year, and I think that was a mistake. This was the way to go with it for sure. The blueberries have all been transplanted now, and I'm not seeing that much shock. We've had a couple more freezes and things, and I don't know, maybe these will hold out and actually produce some berries. That's what I'm hoping anyway. These 3 at the end are the pink lemonade, and they're just sprouting out. They took a lot of damage over the winter. It was too cold, maybe. Hopefully this isn't the wrong climate for them. And I'll be cleaning all this out, I think, at some point, and maybe transplanting a number of these daffodils, especially with these gorgeous double daffodils. This is where the greenhouse is going to go eventually. Love that gorgeous double daffodil. Our plans as it stands are okra, peppers, peppers, tomatoes, and maybe half a thing of tomatoes and half a thing of carrots. We're going to try a hand at carrots this year. We also want to try potatoes, but I'm not exactly sure where they're going to go here. I've had to add on a bit, I guess, to the garden. I'll kind of show you. I'd originally made this as the ending line here, but I needed more space. I've taken and planted all 4 of the blackberry bushes here. They're huge. How much they grew in a year was just mind-boggling. So I planted it on the outside, and my plans are to put another little border on the outside of this and finish it off with some plants, and then come around here, and then we'll have a gate right here. Well, that still leaves the grapes and the raspberries, of course. And I found a Congo grape at a flea market. I've been looking for one. They've been out of stock at Lowe's. And I found this for $5. It was wonderful. So we're going to build an arbor behind the bench. Very inexpensive. And run a grape on either side up and together with that. And then in this corner, I plan on planting the 3 raspberry bushes here. Maybe leave room for a 4th or something, and just have this whole section here about 5 feet up as the raspberry corner. Here in this large area in the corner here, and in the far corner there is where I plan on putting the strawberries. We'll go take a look at those. The strawberries did not do as well over winter as I expected them to, and partly I guess that's my fault. I did transplant them kind of at a weird time of year, and I did mulch them. So everybody else's around here are blooming and growing like crazy, and well, you'll see. They're still really small. We have a few little blooms, but look how small these little plants are. Here's my hand by comparison. They're just tiny. Some of these just have just a few tufts of leaves. This bed has done remarkably better than this one. It's just, they're just struggling. If I planted them too deep, maybe they were here too deep. But I've got to figure out how to modify this again. There's not space for these huge beds like this. So the plan is to I've shaved the end off of this side, maybe do the same on this side, and make these practically a 4x4 bed instead, and see if that will work for the space better. Here's the raspberries. They're just kind of dangling everywhere on the ground, since I had to use the post for them for the blackberries, and I've yet to buy more posts because I had not quite figured out where I was putting them at that time, and they just started to leaf out, and transplanting them now will hurt them a little bit, but they're kind of the last of the breed over here outside of the strawberries and the grapevine, I suppose. Grapevine has not even shown the least interest in budding out at all, which is probably smart. It's usually about another 3 weeks or so before we see our last typical frost. And this is the Cajama Grape. A number of the blackberries had forked and put out just a ton of growth. I mean, it was crazy how much they grew last year, but I plan on taking these cuttings and making a number of other plants, either to use here, I guess, in the garden, or to give away. I don't know that we have the space for more than 4. If we get the production of these 4 that I think we are, we're certainly not going to have the space for them. Well, here's the Congo Grapevine. I'm trying to angle it so the longest tendril will go up the arbor I'm going to make. Got the Cajama. The Cajama is wild. It grew so much last year. We've got 7 or 8 foot of vine on it. Probably need to trim back this next year. But this will frame out the bench area. And then come over here and show you. Get the raspberries planted. I'll put that one post here. Try to avoid my weather station. And the other post here. And then the only thing I have left to move is strawberries. For a few weeks until we plant the vegetables and get a year or two in the backyard garden going. Till next time, keep digging and keep growing.